Mayor Jackson,
Here.
Mr. Miller,
Here.
Mr. Bowen,
Here.
Ms. Cordova, here, Mr. Lopez,
Here.
Mr. Lucero,
Here.
Ms. Parker, here, Mr. Robinson,
Here.
Mr. Heflin.
Here.
Thank you.
Full house. We'd all stand. Ms. Cordova is going to lead us in the invocation, then I'll lead us in the pledges, please.
Heavenly Father, we'd like to thank you for all the blessings that you give to our community. No matter what is going on or what we face, you always keep us safe, and for that we are grateful. We would like to pray for rain for our community and all the communities across the state. Guide our meetings so that we are making decisions that are pleasing to you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, as the symbol of perfect friendships among united cultures.
All right, thank you. See, we got a good crowd. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Scheduled business tonight is item A is minutes of the previous meeting that was held on April 19th, 2020. Those minutes are in your packet, council. Any additions or corrections? If not, I would entertain approval of the minutes, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Parker, a second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Item B is the Portales Fire Department's recognition of Man, I said that 3 times today.
Meritorious.
Meritorious, thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to highlight the performance of some of our personnel. Since the beginning of Portales Fire Department, our community has seen a high-value service. PFD personnel go above and beyond on a daily basis to serve our community. There's been a firm foundation that we continue to build on that was laid before us. As a kid growing up in this community, my dad would take me to the fire department in Portales, and he was a volunteer at Dora. And I remember this feeling I would get of the quality of service and the great people that work there. And that's still true today. On April 13th, 2022 at 1346, Portales Fire Department was dispatched to an active structure fire. At 1347, Portales dispatch advised there's a female in the home. Portales Fire Department responded Unit 702 with Battalion Chief Jared Shearer in command. Unit 714 with firefighters Michael Gonzalez, Hector Garcia, Ethan Tapia. Unit 711 with firefighters Zan Zamora and Jonathan Ortega. And then finally, Unit 802 with Lieutenant Artie James. Upon arrival at 1350, Portales Fire Department found fire on the west end of a single wide mobile home, with the wind blowing approximately 38 miles an hour at the time of the fire. Portales Fire Department personnel utilized 2 3/4 inch attack lines at the front door and at the west side of the home. Lieutenant Artie James and firefighter Zant Zamora began a left-hand search at the front door, while other personnel attacked the fire from the west side of the home. Shortly after beginning the primary search, Lieutenant James and firefighter Zamora located the occupant while the fire was still actively burning. They contacted Battalion Chief Shearer on the radio, requesting the stretcher be brought to the front door. Lieutenant James and firefighter Zamora carried the occupant to safety, while other personnel worked to extinguish the fire. The occupant was secured on the stretcher and transported to RGH, with Battalion Chief Shearer and firefighter Gonzalez attending. Firefighter Andrew Gramzo brought Unit 804 to the scene to assist in salvage and overhaul. All the Portales Fire Department personnel performed incredibly and deserve to be recognized. From the 3-minute and 46-second response time, far below the NFPA standard, to the rescue and the effective extinguishment of the fire. Everyone went above and beyond serving our community. In following Portales Fire Department Standard Operating Guidelines, PFD Meritorious Award, a meritorious act involves a risk above the ordinary, since the firefighter and EMT's task is inherently fraught with danger. And the act should involve an individual act of personal bravery in conjunction with initiative and capability, i.e. rescue a victim from a fire. Battalion Chief Jared Shearer has recommended that Lieutenant Artie James and firefighter Zamora receive a meritorious award. Based upon this recommendation, reviewed by the chief officers, and with all in agreement, it's my honor to present Lieutenant Artie James and firefighter Zant Zamora with meritorious awards.
Outstanding, gentlemen. Good job, guys. Thanks, Chief. Item C is proclamations for the month of May 2022. We have three declarations. The first one is declaring May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as Emergency Medical Services Week with the theme EMS Rising to the Challenge. Mayor Pro Tem Mike Miller is going to read that proclamation for us. Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas the Portales Fire Department Emergency Medical Services is vital public service. And whereas the members of the Portales Fire Department Emergency Medical Services team are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, and others. And whereas the members of the Portales Fire Department Emergency Medical Services team engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And where it is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishments of the Portales Fire Department Emergency Medical Services provider by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now, therefore, I, Ronald R. Jackson, Mayor, City of Portales, New Mexico, in recognition of this event, do hereby claim the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as Emergency Medical Services Week with the theme EMS Rising to the Challenge. I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate activities, recognition, and appreciation.
Chief. Gotta come get. Come on back up. Appreciate you, Chief.
Appreciate you and the whole team. Congratulations.
Thanks, Mayor Pro Tem. Second one is declaring May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as Public Works Week in the city of Portales. And Councilman Jim Lucero is going to read that one for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the city of Portales. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and at the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Portales to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas 2022 marks the 62nd annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association. And now, therefore, on behalf of Ronald L. Jackson, Mayor of the City of Portales, do hereby proclaim May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as Public Works Week in the City of Portales, and urge everyone to join in recognizing our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees for the sustainable contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life.
Do I have it, Jim? I guess.
It's right here. I want to give to him.
Oh, okay. John? It's John. One more that's declaring May 11th through the 17th, 2022 as Police Week and May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day. Proclamation reads, whereas President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which it falls as National Police Week in 1962. And whereas the members of the Portales Police Department are essential to safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of Portales. And whereas it is important that all citizens recognize the purpose and value of their police department who serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas the Portales Police Department has grown to be a modern and scientific law enforcement agency which unceasingly provides a vital public service. Now therefore, I, Ronald L. Jackson, Mayor, encourage all citizens to honor and show appreciation to those men and women who serve daily in law enforcement to keep our community safe, and call upon all to observe the week of May 11th through 17th, 2022 as Police Week, and May 15th, 2022 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, to commemorate our law enforcement officers, past and present, who have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and to honor those peace officers who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of duty. In witness whereof I set my hand and seal the City of Portales to be affixed this 3rd day of May, 2022. Chief. Appreciate you. Appreciate every officer that's here. Thank you, sir. Fantastic. Police officer, DMT, fireman, chiefs, past fireman. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks. Mr. Lucero, appreciate you. All right. Item D is from the Planning Commission. Ms. McClellan. First item is resolution 21-22-50 declaring a dangerous property. Kelly?
Mayor, Council, today I'm introducing you to resolution 21-22-50 for approval. We're getting ready to put a PowerPoint up. You've got some pictures of the property in your packet, which is at 17 West 18th Street, which has been found to be covered in ruins, rubbish, wreckage, or debris. We did have the fire department go look at it, and they concluded the front appeared to be in disrepair and unstable, causing potential collapse hazard. Large amount of wooden fence panels stacked in the backyard, increasing fire load and potential danger.
Do I have any questions for Kelly? Entertain action on resolution 21-22-50.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bowen, second by Ms. Parker. Go ahead, would you read the roll? You didn't get to read the whole process. The resolution?
Yes, sir. Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Lucero?
Yes.
Ms. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Heflin?
Yes.
Second item is recommendation for special use permit providing the manufacturing and producing of cannabis in a B2 zone. Kelly, you got this too?
Yes, sir. So it's for a special use permit that was submitted by Tyson Lewis at 105 North Abilene. That is a B2 zone, which is a downtown zone. You are allowed to do light manufacturing in that zone with a special use permit. So it was taken to the planning commission on April 25th, where it was recommended for approval with 5 for approval, 0 against. And then when the letters were sent out, there were 1 came back in support with neighbors and 1 came back ambivalent.
Yes, sir.
I attended this meeting. We all voted for it. Mr. Lewis is very knowledgeable in what he's trying to do here, and I really think this will be great for our community. This is the building located behind the News Tribune and the big white metal building. And I think he's very professional, and the way he made it sound is we probably wouldn't even notice it was even there if we didn't know what it was.
Yeah, Mr. Lewis is available for any questions via online.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Light manufacturing, what does that mean? He's gonna be growing?
Yes, you will be growing in that building.
How many plants?
I believe we have to ask Mr. Lewis that.
Mr. Lewis, can you hear us?
He's muted himself.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. One of our council members had a question about how many plants are you planting in that building?
Flowering plants will be around 2,500. A better explanation I could explain is square footage. For manufacturing cannabis, it's size of your plants. So we tend to grow a smaller plant in a denser area, leading to about 2,500 flowering plants in there.
How many gallons of water are you expected to be using?
Our water usage, somewhere between 14 and 20,000 gallons, which is relatively low for manufacturing. Our cultivation facility in Oregon, we've got some reuse and reclamation things that we do as far as a lot of our water we put into this system, we can reclaim through our HVAC systems and our dehumidifiers. It's about 75% of the water we put in, we reclaim. So our water footprint's actually relatively low for what we do.
Mike, you said you're recycling the water, is that?
Yeah, well, the water we put in, it'll evaporates. Essentially, it's a closed loop system, so it evaporates into the building. And we use dehumidifiers in our HVAC, and we reclaim and reuse all of that water. And what we found in Oregon, it's about 75% of that water we get back as basically distilled water and reuse instead of running it all to waste.
And so that's 14,000 to 20,000 gallons per month?
Per month, correct.
Any other questions from the council?
Mayor, I don't have a question, but I do want to disclose that I did, when I was director of RCCDC, I did work with Mr. Lewis in making contacts locally and also, helping him along in his processes of finding the building and talking to area business people and contacts. So I want to disclose that.
Thanks, Jim. Any other questions for Mr. Lewis while he's online?
No,
Any other-
I
Go
have a
ahead.
question.
Sure.
This is all so new to me. So once you finish with the plants, then what is the process after that?
So the process of that, we harvest. Those plants then go to hang, dry in a drying room. Once they're finished with that process, they go on to a trimming room. And then these are all licensed facilities. This would be a state licensed facility for cultivation. And from there, we create a finished product and deliver that to other licensed dispensaries throughout the state.
So this is all done on site.
All on site, correct? Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I just have one issue. We have our community, the residents in our community that are on a watering cycle. You only can water certain days a month, but this guy wants to use 14 to 20,000 gallons per month.
John, you want to address that as a business or?
Certainly. To this point, he has not made an application for the commercial resource permit or the manufacturing permit. So we haven't seen anything beyond the special use permit application. That's something that we would have to take through the Public Works Committee and then to the council after we stopped and reviewed it. Now, we are in a water restrictions right now, and we do require all the businesses to follow that. So I don't know if it is recycling part of this would cover that or not. So until we actually have his permit application where it describes the process in more detail, that's the best answer I have for you.
So this is one of a few steps that he'll have to go through.
Right, after this, what they have to do is just follow our typical cannabis application, which in this case would be the one for manufacturing that has the manufacturing permit application. It's already gone through the planning commission, so it'll go to the Public Works Committee and then come before the council.
John, it's my understanding that it wouldn't go through to the council unless it's over 100,000 for approval, unless it's over 100,000 gallons a month. Isn't that correct?
That's incorrect. When on all of our industrial manufacturing ones, all of those go to the council. It's the commercial ones up to 100,000 gallons that we can approve administratively. So whether it's, and this was set before we had the cannabis rules. So anything that we had that was going to be in the industrial part, if you remember, when we had the DFA re-permitting, we had to bring it before the council because that was classified as industrial.
Yeah. Can I speak to any of that?
Sure, Mr. Lewis, go ahead.
As far as days and times of watering, we store all of our water. So if there's peak demand times that water needs to be used during different times, we can do that. And in context for how much water that is for manufacturing, a fast food restaurant or somewhere around that uses much more significant amount of water than we would in this process. So for a commercial use, we're actually on the lower end, despite the fact of what we're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Veronica?
He answered my question with the gallons.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Is he able to use our water out of the Purple Hat? No?
No, sir. That hasn't been approved for anything beyond what we're using it for. And since that is would technically be called a first use crop, we can't use even class 1 reuse water on it.
Any other questions from the council? I would entertain action on resolution. Is this
That's just a club approval.
Recommendation.
just a recommendation?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Heflin to approve, second by Mr. Miller. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. Thanks, Mr. Lewis.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Next item, Kelly, still on the podium up there, is a recommendation for a replat of 1028 West Community Way. Kelly?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is for a replat for 1028 Community Way, which was submitted by Billy Neese. Mr. Neese is looking to sell the property, but when they got it surveyed, they realized some of the lines were off. So they're just fixing the lines through Lydic Engineering and then submitting this for replat. So it can be permanently fixed. When it went to council on April 25th, it was recommended for approval, 5-4-0 against. And then we sent the letters out, one came back ambivalent, and then 2 came back in support of that.
Mayor, I was also at this meeting and there was no problems with us replating this. It was just kind of cleaning up the property lines is all it was.
Anybody have any questions on the replat? Entertain action on this replat, please.
Motion to approve a replat at 1028 West Community Way.
Second.
Motion by Parker and a second by Mr. Lucero. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
I didn't second that, Mayor. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I didn't second.
Mr. Lopez, I apologize.
Thank you.
Doesn't matter really.
You didn't get offended. Same, all opposed, same time. None. Thank you. Kelly, good job.
Sir.
Thank you.
Right, item E is public hearing. Ordinance 757, an ordinance providing the annexation of Portales Track 1520 South Industrial.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we enter into a public hearing to receive comments on the ordinance.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Miller to go into a public meeting, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are in a public hearing. Is there anybody here to speak on behalf of this? Annexation? Anybody here to speak against it? I would entertain action to close the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Again? What? Are you asking me what I said? If anybody was here to speak on behalf of this annexation, we're in an open meeting to discuss it. And then nobody was discussing it. I asked if anybody was opposed to it. None being there. And then I asked a motion to close the meeting. And that was made by who?
Parker.
Ms. Parker.
Parker.
Second by Mr. Robinson.
Get that, Joanne?
Yes, sir.
Do we need a roll call to close it?
Yes.
All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Then I would entertain action on ordinance 757, please. For annexation.
Mayor, I think I need to abstain from this due to relation. Is that correct? I'll go ahead and abstain from it.
Well, you just need to declare
Just
your
declare.
conflict. And that doesn't
Okay, well,
automatically require-
I could abstain from it. It'd be all right to do it that way. On both E and F, I will abstain from both votes.
Okay, sir. So have a motion to approve ordinance number 757 for annexation.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lucero, second by Ms. Parker. We need a roll call or we're good?
No, we need a roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Heflin.
Abstain.
Oh, yes, sir. I'll make that note.
Okay, and then item F is the public hearing for ordinance number 758, an ordinance providing an annexation of a similar tract of land that's adjacent to the one prior to. I'd entertain action to go into a public hearing, please.
Mayor, I think we make a motion, we go into public hearing to discuss ordinance 758.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Robinson, a second by Mr. Bowen to go into public hearing. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are in a public hearing. This is 758. Ordinance providing annexation, City of Portales, addressed as 1600 South Industrial. Anybody here to speak on behalf? There's anybody here that's opposed to this annexation? I would entertain action to close the public hearing, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Parker, a second by Mr. Miller. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. There being none, I would entertain action on ordinance 758.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Miller made a motion to approve the ordinance number 758, seconded by Mr. Bowen. Joanne, would you read the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Ms. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Heflin. Oh,
Abstain.
Sorry, this is an abstain. Sorry, I'll get it
You're
the
okay.
next time.
We'll get it for the record.
Okay, item G is a public hearing for ordinance number 759. Ordinance number 759 is amendment to the city Portales ordinance number 755, modifying the Portales ordinance 752, regulating the time, place, and manner of cannabis sales, manufacture, and consumption. This may, this may be a continuing kind of thing. So, anyway, I would entertain action to go into a public meeting on 759.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Parker,
Second.
second by Mr. Bowen. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are now in a public hearing for ordinance number 759. Anybody here to speak on behalf of 759? Anybody here that opposes ordinance number 759? I would entertain action to close the public hearing, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lopez to close, a second by Ms. Cordova. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. I would entertain action to approve ordinance number 759.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Parker and a second by Mr. Miller. Go ahead, and roll call one more
Yes,
time.
sir. Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova. Yes. Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
and Mr. Heflin.
Yes.
Good job. A little housekeeping there. Like I said, that one may or may not come back. We may have the kinks ironed out of it. May not. All right, item H is approval of mayor's signature on the Mexico DOT aviation grant. Susan, is she here? She is here.
I'm
You're
actually
hiding back
making me
there.
present today.
Huh?
She's making me present today. I thought you guys might miss me.
We didn't. But we love hearing you. And this is improving the airport, so.
Yes, sir. We're
Kelly.
looking to get the mayor's signature on an aviation division grant, which will allow us to pavement the apron. We just finished with the taxiway, and then we're looking to get the apron done next. This grant is,
It's a 90% federal, 9% state, 1% local. The total is 185,000, and our match would, the local match would be $1,850. The project is set up as a base bid with 2 alternates, and those alternates are different types of seal coating.
Thanks. We like those 1% matches.
Right.
Any questions from the council?
I'd move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Lucero, a second by Ms. Parker. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Susan. Item I is approval of amendment 8 for professional services, environmental compliance, and monitoring engineering services. Don, you got room to sneak back up there?
I did. It was a little tight. Thank you, Mayor Council. This is, we're seeking approval for Amendment 8 with CDM Smith. They're an engineering firm that we've used for environmental compliance on the landfill groundwater monitoring. And they also help us with wastewater plant groundwater modeling or monitoring and the reports that we send to the state for that. The total change in this will be $29,536, bringing the total contract price to $233,254.
And this adjustment was already budgeted.
Yes, sir.
From solid waste. Any questions for John?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Mr. Miller, a second by Ms. Cordova. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Mayor.
Right up there, we got backhoe approval.
Yes, sir. This is ratification for the purchase of the new backhoe, one that will be used at the cemetery. It's a Caterpillar backhoe with a jackhammer attachment. This is a project that started several years ago. We were funded and then they swept the fund, swept the money back, and then it came back again. And now with the changes in the times and how manufacturing and everything is now, the original $85,000 that was enough to purchase this piece of equipment is now, we now need 140,000, right, just over 140,000. So it'll be a budget amendment or a change coming out of the general fund for $55,945.
It's a piece of equipment.
Yes, sir.
Ask a question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Deshay, why do we need the jackhammer portion of the backhoe for the cemetery? I can see maybe for streets or something, but
It's actually, that's a very good question. We have a backhoe with a jackhammer attachment out there now. Depending on where you're at in the area, you go down so far and we run into a layer of bleachy rock. It's about 2 feet thick, and the only way to get to it is either blasting or with these jackhammers. I mean, there's other ways of doing it, but the jackhammer will allow us to dig a grave, the size of a grave, and it works very, very well.
makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Shea? In action to approve the backhoe purchase.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Cordova to approve, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Sarah, we have a Comcast franchise agreement. Is it a renewal?
This is a renewal, yes. The way we did renegotiate it with the help of Steve, and we do have Aaron on with Comcast if you have any questions regarding it. The term of the franchise agreement will be for 10 years, commencing the effective date of the agreement. And the fee is to be paid to the city by Comcast at 5% annual gross revenues. And that is to be paid out quarterly.
Lawyers, it look good.
Yes, I reviewed it, had some discussion. We made some requests to Comcast and they responded back, and it's a mutually agreed upon agreement. Basically, the same term as last term. They added some additional language. We added some additional language. But it's practically the identical policy contract we've had in the past.
We had a previous 10-year
Yes.
agreement. Any questions from the council? I'd ask a motion to approve the Comcast franchise agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Cordova. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Item L is a resolution 21-22-51. Road fund. Don, back up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor Council. This one is a rather interesting one. It's actually just a request for a time-only extension, although we still had to put everything in there. This is for our Avenue K project. And if you remember, in this case, we did not have a match, and we had a match waiver. So it's requesting approval of the time extension on.
Those are going to be pretty common, aren't they? Because of everything that's going on with supply chain and
Yes, sir.
engineers and contractors. Okay.
It's a little difficult these days to spend the money in what they call a timely manner. And that's where these are coming from.
And just because we extend it out for 1 year doesn't mean that we're gonna wait a year for the project if we get everything. done.
No, this is just to give us time to actually start the project and start expending the funds.
Mayor, I'd move for approval of resolution 21-22-51.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Miller, second by Mr. Lopez. Resolution. Where is that? Roll call.
Yes.
Go in.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova. Yes. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
okay.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Heflin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Item N is a request to reschedule the meeting schedule for May 17th and May 24th. Sarah?
Yes, Mayor, Council, I'd like to respectfully request that we move the meeting to May 24th to accommodate for our budget meetings as well as meeting with the Finance Committee. And I believe that will be on the 20th of May.
Any questions? We'll have one the 24th, and then the first one in June would be June 7th.
Yes.
Still 2 weeks.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Heflin, a second by Ms. Parker. All in favor, state by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Okey-dokey.
Thank you.
Item N is public input for which no action will be taken. Any matter not known about or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of the posting of the agenda. This agenda item is for information purpose only. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Individuals will be limited to one presentation per meeting. And there will be a maximum of 6 speakers on each subject. Counselors will not respond to comments or answer questions to avoid any possible violation of Open Meetings Act. Questions or requests for information should be directed to the city manager in writing during regular business hours. Anything from the public? Chief?
Yes, sir. With our dispatch center, we're expecting to go live next Wednesday. But before that, we wanted to invite you all to come look at it on Tuesday. And I think we're planning around 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Yes. We're working on trying to get something thrown together to get out to you guys with an official notice. And other than that, I didn't have a chance to get it on the agenda. But Lieutenant Amador Lujan has been with the city now for 10 years, since April 26th. But his date of hire is May 15th. So I ambushed him here. Public comment. There's your 10-year pin from the city. So, thank you.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Great. Anything else, Chief?
No, sir, that was all I had.
I know you guys have been busy and we appreciate everything that you guys do too. 10 years is a pretty good run. Thanks for being here.
Went by pretty quick.
Did it go by fast?
Oh, very.
Good, good. Get you another 15 years and you get.
That's another.
Hey, it'll fly by just a track. Any other comments from public? John?
Yes, sir. I wanted to let you know that we are going to start on our resurfacing of 18th Street Tuesday. So there'll be some disruption there. This will be from New Mexico all the way down to
New Mexico 88.
No, New Mexico on 18th Street to Avenue I. This is the first part of that. The next section.
Oh, on
will be
18th Street.
I all the way to.
I thought I heard Kilgore.
Not yet.
I did.
We
didn't.
We didn't hear.
I have a question.
I was dreaming Kilgore, I guess.
We have one clearance left on Kilgore and then we're going.
Parker, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. Mr. Deshay, is it going to be smooth
It will be.
or is it going to be bumpy?
It will be smoother. Yes, as smooth as we can. Yeah, I know that one section is a little rough, but I keep coming back to it. There is not one pothole in that section of road.
I know, but it's,
I'd rather dodge potholes.
me too. It's horrible. It's very, very
That's the
bumpy.
goal. It's not going to be as smooth as new asphalt, but it will be smooth.
Okay, and how long will this project take?
A week or
Depending on-
less.
Okay,
It's really not going to take long. We have a little bit of prep work that we have to do, then they'll close the road down and go in and do their process. We're expecting to be in and out in a day or so.
okay, very good. Very good, thank you.
Good news.
Mhm.
It couldn't be worse than the Door Highway.
That's true too.
That's true.
But no, there is a concrete pad that takes 7 days to cure, but still, they're gonna be in and out quick. The disruption is gonna be minimal.
good.
Want to feel better, just drive from Fort Sumner to Vaughn.
Not bad.
No, it's not bad.
There's a section on the road with the stripes.
It's better than Fort Sumner to Santa Rosa.
That's true.
It's true.
The only other thing that we have to
Roller coaster
report
ride.
is that the pool is fundamentally ready for inspection. We have to get a first aid kit and do a little bit of a few more things on cleanup. We have to order a few supplies for the lifeguards, but I don't anticipate that being a problem. And then as long as we have lifeguard cards that we can hang at the pool, we should pass inspection. We've been using their inspection sheet for pool prep.
Do we know what kind of staff we got? I'm sorry.
The last word that we had was that there's either 9,
There's 10 now.
10 lifeguards, and we're working on getting a pool manager. But I think we'll be in good shape. Steve and his bunch, they have really worked hard on that. If you get the chance, let us know. We'll take it there and walk you around it. It's really good.
Is that what you're gonna ask for?
Yeah, and it's for May 30th opening for
If
Memorial
we
Weekend.
approve- If we get our approval on the inspection, yes.
Yes, the inspection is set for the week of the 15th. And as long as there's no problems, then we're ready to go.
Any other questions for John on the pool? No diving board. Do we have the
Oh.
Whibbits?
We do have the Whibbits.
It's out there?
We'll work on getting those out after we get the pool open.
Okay, let's get it open first, I guess.
That's our big thing is we want to make sure that we get open. And then you may have noticed we repainted the deck. The pool itself got some work. We repainted the deck. We did not have time to spruce up the building.
But we don't have the baby pool open yet, right?
No, sir, it won't be open.
Okay. Well, let's get the big one open. Get them young teenagers out there, young kids. Anything else? Anything from the community? Melvin?
Just wanted to see where I stand and what's going on with my stuff. If I've got everything ready besides my fence in my backyard.
Do I have an answer for Melvin right now?
And,
We gave him a letter, 7-day letter. He's been bringing more material in. And we've had some concerns from the neighbors. And his 90 days had run out on April 19th. So we gave him an additional 7 days to make some progress on it, which he hasn't done. So we're ready to move forward with our part of it, seeking a judgment so that we can get on the property.
Are we talking about the Floyd property?
Talking about,
We're
we're
talking
talking
about,
about the property at 1604 West Fur, and then also the one over here on where the trailer house and the other debris is. Yes, sir.
well, if he's talking about 211 East 10th and 920 South Boulder, there ain't nothing brought in there. It's all been hauled out and it's clean. And if you need me to bring pictures to it, he needs to stay off of that property. You know what I mean? Because I've been working my ass off, excuse me, for the last 90 days to try to get this done. And I cannot do 3 different properties all in one little shake. And that's what I've been doing. And I've been having to take from the garage over there at 211 East 10th. And I didn't have nowhere to go for it unless you want to take it to the garage. I took a couple of couches over there in the back there. And that's all I brought to that house. So there ain't been no neighbors saying anything about it. I don't know what his problem is. He's wanting that stuff back there and won't tear it down or whatever he's gonna do, but he better be careful. And I'm telling the council and I'm telling him now. Because I busted my ass and I've been trying to put that fence up in the whole 9 yards and I ain't got no clearance. Everybody telling me to go ahead and put the fence up, Well, give me a clearance through y'all and I'll put the fence up because I've got everything else situated and cleaned and pulled off and took off from there.
Mayor, ask Mr. Hightower to stay professional, please.
You know what?
Please stay professional. You
I'm
you
trying to
don't have
stay
to, you don't have to yell at us.
I'm
We're
trying to
right
stay
here.
professional. I mean, I want you to hear me if I'm talking to you. I can't hear, you know what I mean?
We know you're getting fired up. We know you're getting fired up. We know where you stand.
Okay,
We'll get with you.
okay. I mean, I just,
I
my
understand you're
house,
not gonna get an answer tonight. You're not gonna get an answer tonight.
my house out there, I mean, I've got 5 days or 6 days or whatever.
You're not gonna get an answer tonight.
So you mean to wait until the last dash day or what?
We'll get
Then-
with you tomorrow.
I mean, I've been doing everything that the council has asked me to, and the whole 9 yards, the papers and the whole bit.
We hear you.
And, I've been trying,
We hear you.
but I don't wanna work between y'all and then Kathy and him go out there and tell me that,
Melvin,
they're gonna tear my fence down.
we'll get with you tomorrow.
Okay,
All right.
okay,
Thank you.
that'll be fun. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else from the audience? Council?
Yeah, are we moving forward on the other place on Fur, the other junkyard? No, the other, right across from that storage unit.
Rogers?
Yeah, Rogers.
Yeah, they're cleaning it
The
up.
recycling.
Yes, we have been, there's been a little wrinkle in that. B&B got evicted from one spot and they basically stopped on the one you're talking about, to empty out the property that they were evicted from. We've told them that they have to get that cleaned up. Or we actually are ready to proceed forward with getting the judgment so that we can enter onto that property and clean it as well. The only problem is we can't get onto the one over on Abilene because that property is no longer in his name. It now belongs to another individual. So we're ready to proceed with the one you're talking about as well. So we have these, Mr. Hightower's property and that one, and then with the council resolution, then we're proceeding forward with the one on 18th Street, and we started the one on A. He was given a 90-day extension.
Okay, so roll off just showed up over there full of trash. No telling when it's gonna blow out.
We're
The one on Fur.
Yes, sir.
yeah, we need to get back with him. He was making really good progress on it, and then with this, they fundamentally stopped.
Anything else from council?
I just want to commend the departments that are doing all this, because this is something that's like been way overdue. And I know it angers some of our citizens, but I mean, it's not hard. It's just take care of your stuff, and it doesn't matter. And I've said this so many times, whether you live in a $10,000 home or $100,000 home, take pride in what you have. And I mean, and you know, we talk about the trash in our community, and it's our trash. You know, people come through our town and say, oh, look, this looks like a trashy town, and they start throwing trash out. So I mean, if we each keep our properties clean and taken care of, it's wonders. It does wonders. And, you know, and we have a lot of people with our university here. We people, you know, from all over the world that are at the base that come into our community. And I mean, we need to take pride in our community. So I commend all the departments. And I know, you know, when people get angry because you go onto their property and you tell them, but you know, it is what it is. It's not hard. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Speaking of,
Thank you, Ms. Parker.
are we having a community cleanup this year?
We
Yes,
are planning on it fall.
yes, it was already set up, was it the Green American cleanup? I think it
That
was.
was in the
So we're gonna be
spring.
setting a couple of roll-offs over at Rotary Park for people to use. We'll have it manned so that, you know, they can make sure that
What's the
we
date?
don't show up with
Any
buckets of
date?
nuclear waste.
We don't have a
Clovis is
date
doing
yet.
theirs this weekend. That's the only reason I asked.
Clovis is doing theirs, and they do have the roll-offs for tires as well, which we helped write a letter of
They,
recommendation.
they
for
got
that.
a grant for that, which was very, very nice. Although they are limiting each person.
We used to always get a
Also
grant
in
for
that.
that too.
I believe the grant was focused differently when Jody had it. It was for more of the.
We'd had a clean and beautiful grant that we got every year. Do we not get that anymore?
Yes, we do.
We do
We
that.
do.
That was used to do some work in one of the parks, and she had a schedule for some landscaping to be done at the walking trail.
Yes.
That's what this year's was, but then every year whenever we do is it the Great American Pickup? Cleanup, yeah. We always set some roll-offs or dumpsters out for that as well.
Okay, well, Parker used to be in charge of that too. I mean, maybe not in charge, but that was your baby.
Part of the effort.
You know, so I feel like we all need to be a part of it.
We
and
go
get-
clear
get
back to
onto that.
Pat Rutker.
Well, when we
Yes,
send,
he's at the
yeah, when we
university, yeah.
send groups of people around town picking up trash,
Mhm.
you know, just like you said, it's a,
Take pride in our community.
well, it's a
Exactly.
responsibility of each and every citizen, but
Exactly.
part of it starts with just closing your dumpster lid.
Mhm.
Kathy has
When
been.
you're in the alley, everything that blows down the alley blows out of the dumpster.
Kathy has been getting very good response since we started our efforts back in October. She can tell you she's noticed a major difference in people's attitude, and there's a lot of people who are like, oh, well, yeah, you're right, I'll take care of it. She's getting very, very positive response.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Billy. All right, anything else? Anything at all? Journey.